Movie review. Today I'll do a quick review of the old 2002 Marvel's Spider-Man by Sam Raimi. I got the limited edition Blu-ray set. As all three movies, all five, four. How many films is that? Do we count Harry? Cat? Cat's bothering me. I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to do this. But I guess while Cat, no, Cat, lay down. Gonna review the Blu-ray case. It's like a book. Probably because it is. It's got pages and everything. Pages on the development of Original Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2, and Spider-Man 3. The journey from comic book to celluloid. That's what you called it back then. I'll get this one minor detail off the bat. The effects are terrible in this movie. They're abysmal. They've aged poorly. Anytime I see a practical effect, I just clap and cheer. I'm like, yay! Practicality's not dead! And then the rest of the effects happen. I'm like, yep, never mind, it's dead. Just came for an encore before it went bon voyage into its Viking funeral in the 100% real boat and real fire. I'll tell you one thing, these effects. This intro's something. Nothing to sneeze at, this intro. Executive producer Avi Arad won Stanley, rest in peace, rocking my Stanley Memorial shirt. Cat, down. You know what, I'll bring my cat in. Little straight fright oughta scare in shape. Some might call this a reaction. I call it a in the moment review. Get out here. Eh. Watch this movie is not for the faint of heart. How weird it is. Everything from this movie is bad, but in a good way. Like, the transitions are weird, but fun. Mary Jane Watson. The woman I've loved since What's up, Watson? I'd like to tell you that's me next to her. I win. That's a meathead. That's just a generic guy. Well, they got the nerdiness down. Loser. In my opinion, there are three things that make up this film. The actors, obviously, but in a more involved way. Both the good actors, the bad actors, the main actors, the background actors, the extras and whatnot. Mary Jane and Peter are very dull. Like, the characters, at points, the characters are interesting, but overall they're just dull, in my opinion. If you don't like it, you can fight me. I will say, though, I have fond memories of this movie. I was 2 years old when this came out. No wandering. This is a public place. You're not allowed to wander in a public place. Hence the paths we did not lay out. Just a giant door and sidewalks. Also, you live in New York. Did you really need to take a bus? Oh, that's mean. Just hey, oh, you weren't talking to me. Hey, buddy. Hey, guy who wasn't the love of my life at all. Definitely wasn't confused by that. Looks like a hearse, that car. Shit, what's his name? I 100% forgot what his name was. Damn it. Oh, I didn't notice this. Willem Dafoe. Willem Dafoe has the Goblin is glorious. I like how they don't include Harry in this because pretty much just another Goblin, but less crazy looking. Technically, more modern, more sleek, less crazy. Hey, how you do? Let's move. Did you even know Harry's gonna show up at that point? Hold on. The guy's like, you two, let's move. Do you know Harry's gonna show up at that point? Shouldn't he have wanted to wait until Harry showed up? Because I don't think he knew he showed up.
That's amazing. This is the most advanced electron microscope on the eastern seaboard. It's unreal.
Okay, I guess he's smart. I mean, it is one method of showing, hey, I'm smart.
The Delana spider, family Spiracida, has the ability to jump to catch its prey.
School paper?
Just as long as it's not Flash.
Next, we have
Yeah, speaking of Flash,
family Phyllis
it has like two villains, Eddie Brock and Flash Thompson. Flash Thompson's like those are two people. I always get those two mixed up because they feel like the same character, just in different methods. Flash Thompson's like the bully of the school, while Eddie Brock's the reporter rival.
Assuming what is going on? This person talks about this course. I kid you not.
I kid you not. I'm being very serious. I kid you not is something you never say to sound serious. You say, I'm being serious when you're being serious. It may sound dumb and a bit too literal, but there's a reason. You say it.
Change colors to blend into their environment.
What? Why didn't Blu-ray catch on? It's like a slightly higher definition than DVD. How did that not catch on? I can understand why DVD caught on to end VHS. I can also understand why Blu-ray did not catch on. It's because it wasn't even that much higher of a quality. It's like a 10% upgrade from the last one. Listen to me, sound smart. If you need me to help with science homework, I can always kidnap my friend and have him do it for you. And also me.
Combining the genetic information from all three spiders into these 15 genetically designed super spiders.
How do you genetically design super spiders?
I beg your pardon? One's missing.
What? I feel like this is information you shouldn't let out. I feel like someone would have noticed that, like the janitor. How long has it been gone to make a web? This is more like a nitpick of like scene by scene. Look at a scene. I'm like nitpick. I'm like CinemaSins, except incredibly slow because I don't know how to edit yet. Who knows? I might have figured out how to edit by the time this video comes out, but probably not. I tell you what, that green shredder she has reminds me of Shrek.
Can I take your picture? I need one with a student in it.
Definitely not to. I need one with a student in it. Definitely not. Definitely for the school newspaper. Definitely not for jacking off profusely because I'm alone, and you're my love interest. Do I look hot and smart? Just hot? Works for me. I don't look smart now? Okay, now just hot? Good. I do both, but I don't do both. It's scientifically impossible. Now that's a scientific fact. By the way, what's science? I have the spider decide to just then decide, you know what, I'm gonna go down and bother someone. Because last I checked, they don't really do anything unless you harass them. Doesn't even kill off the spider. And there are 14 others. Jesus.
Let's do it.
Okay, we're just gonna ignore that spider that just bit me. Hey look! Exposition! Yeah, thanks, visual storytelling. I understand it's show don't tell, but that just felt like show tell via showing. It's like you cheated. Question, where the hell did he get the tacky mask that for some reason went well with the suit? Was he just like, you know what? I want a hot suit to go with my tacky mask. I'm sure that won't come in handy.
I want to see the progress report on human performance enhancers.
We tried vapor inhalation with rodent subjects.
Oh, you mean our steroids? No, your performance enhancers. So steroids? No, performance enhancers. What's the difference between them and steroids? Well, they're green, therefore they're not performance enhancers. Also, you don't inject them, you just sort of let them into your body naturally through gas. Sir, how do you know these things? I have my research.
Dr. Strom?
We need to take the whole line back to formula.
What does that mean? Does that mean you have to start over? From where you began?
I never supported your program. We have my predecessor to thank for that.
Norman, the general gave the go-ahead to request...
Who was your predecessor? What happened to him?
They tested 2 weeks.
And if your so-called performance enhancers have not...
And how come you haven't done this sooner? Because you said you've already seen the glider. I would assume that if you already seen it, then you probably were, already around to already the general. I guess you just weren't impressed the first time you saw it? Now the screen is brighter and even harder to see.
40 soft flowing watts of it. Good boy.
What you talking about? Dead man, I mean, Peter's uncle. Also known as future dead man.
After 35 years, what else would you call it?
I'd call it clunky exposition.
Corporation is downsizing the people and upsizing their profits. Ben, you'll get another job somewhere. Well, let's look at the paper and see.
But you've retired.
On that, what do we got here? Computer salesman, computer engineer, computer analyst. My lord, even that.
Well, stop looking in the computer section. Or, judging by the fact that they all start with computer, stop looking in the C section. Because I feel like they organized newspapers in some way. That made sense.
You're the most responsible man I've ever known. We've been down and out before, but somehow we survived.
Yeah.
Somehow we survived. Well, me more so than you, but I like your odds for some reason.
I don't feel well. I'm going to go to sleep.
Oh, do you want to have a bite?
No thanks. Had a buddy.
No thanks, I could have an emotional moment with you and act, and then start feeling sick and then go to bed. But you know what? Instead, I'll just leave the scene now and have my ailment now. Look at that, Tobey Maguire, definitely not ripped. You think they had him be like, okay, we need to be scrawny and weak. Tobey Maguire's like, done. Yeah, Dark Souls 3 is installed. And I had that set up to be installed like 3 hours ago. Still installing though. Personally, how I would have made this scene of showing Peter having this genetic stuff happen to him would be like, if he went inside his body and then saw the atom and then saw the DNA being toyed with and then coming out to see what's doing to that part of the body,
Risks are part of laboratory science.
whatnot.
Let me reschedule. With the
I mean, if you just give me 2 weeks.
2 weeks? 2 weeks? We'll have lost it.
Kev messing around down there, being a weirdo. Mess with my notepad. Right here.
Give me the chlorothalonil. For what? It begins catalyzation when the vapor.
Like, you're a scientist, and you knew about this stuff forever. You knew how it wasn't good enough. And you didn't even know that small chemical that would help for getting the experiment done? This just feels like nitpick, but I mean, if there's so much to nitpick, it's cold. Oh, I sound that kind of funny. It's cold. My nipples are hard. Or at least they would be if these were actually touching me. But seeing as how I'm shirtless, I would have felt it being cold on my back, and said that earlier. Because the stuff that's meant to hold me down can barely hold. I could easily get out of that shit if you give me like a solid 5 or 10 minutes. I could easily climb out, because that's definitely not going to hold you down unless you want to make sure that they stay down during a seizure. I'm like, I'm having a seizure. Thankfully, I'm held up in this loose, janky machine where I could possibly hurt my head on it because it's weirdly made. You just made a gas chamber. I just realized that's a goddamn gas chamber. You're just gassing them. It's just a death chamber for gas, a gas chamber. By the way, the scientist is very spineless. See what would have happened if he waited the full amount of time. Would it have prolonged the insanity? And made him performance enhanced? And then be able to prove that it would do well? For it only to flop in the future? Norman! My God, Norman! Why'd they have such an elaborate way to push him in if there were just a set of doors over there? I feel like it would have been easier just to have that in the middle of the room there than lock him up. I was trying to save your life, Norman. You might have survived that. You never know. I mean, you could survive the weirdest things. I mean, aside from going through the window with the amount of force he had, I assume that glass was, like, reinforced to a reasonable degree. So the fact that he can throw an old guy who is soft and squishy and probably doesn't have that much velocity through a window that's probably strong enough to withstand bullets. Either he's really strong, or those are very cheap windows for a scientific set of people who had funding from the government. And the technology that the guy fell on, I feel like he wouldn't have just made the metal collapse. You know, in Guardians of the Galaxy, they told Chris Pratt that either way he was going to be the character. It's just that if he didn't get a six-pack, they would have just CG'd it on. Like they did for Nicolas Cage in Ghost Rider. Because every superpower you get gives you six-pack automatically. It's just like, look. I'm just like, wow, I have X-ray vision and a six-pack. Wow, I can fly and have a six-pack. Wow, I have a six-pack and a six-pack.
I thought you were sick. I got better. Bye, guys.
That's how sick works, right? I mean, I wasn't sick in the beginning of the day. I got sick near the end, and now I'm all of a sudden better after a good night's rest, I assume.
Teenagers. Raging hormones.
Raging hormones. Raging hormones made me sick once to the point where I was bedridden and then just came out safely. Mary Jane! Mary Jane! Exposition that I'm too bored to pay attention to. Just ripped off that paper on the bus. Is there a reason that they decided to tape that on there? How'd they even attach it? Nails? 1 second. I'm being called. What? Yeah. Ah. That's right. I have no pants on. What are you gonna do? I just fell over randomly. Shouldn't you be at like your bit? Well, yeah. You had a bit of a bender last night. Got high off some gas fumes.
Mr. Osborne, Dr. Strong is dead.
What?
They found his body
No.
this morning in the lab. He's been murdered, sir.
What are you talking about?
And the flight suit and the glider?
What about it?
It's been stolen, sir.
We have no way to track it. Well, why didn't we install, tracking devices in our high-tech life importance equipment? Also, we're missing some performance enhancer chemicals. It looks like someone used it in the lab. That sounds like cool.
Wow. Great reflexes.
I feel like that's more than great reflexes there. If I fell over and someone grabbed me and did that awesome thing with the tray and had all the items in the tray, not a big gravity properly, I'd be like, well, that's awesome, but how exactly? How?
Well, yeah.
How? Seriously, how'd you do it? I need to know. Why'd you grab your fork like that? You're able to do that whole thing with the tray. Wait, why did the school give you metal forks? That's dangerous and stupid. I guess that it was different in 2002? I feel like you should have known that was coming. And instead of doing that, just tried to yank it off or cut it off with your metal knife that you potentially had. I'm leaving. Ignore the tray. Thank God this door got in the way of this tray that I had no idea was there. Oh God, it's Flash Rockson. What's the difference between the two characters again? Wow, look at that. CG fly. CGI. More like CG fly. That was such a weird look. The way it had to work was if he had to punch like this. Ah. Not like. Yeah, like. Just the way they punch it. And you're going to kick the shit out of someone. I doubt you're going to be like in some sort of Fight Club stance where you're like, 2 men enter, 1 man leaves. You just be like, yeah. You'd be just be going all out, not psyching yourself up because you clearly have beaten the shit out of him before, I'm guessing. Well, that was odd.
Which one?
Your friend. I get the joke, but you gotta help your friend first and foremost, man. Why would there be any question? He's just holding your arm and making it move to his whim instead of yours. I doubt that would cause You punch you in the chest. If he punches you in the chest and you're like launched, I feel like you would have lost a few ribs along the way. Peter, I'm a character too. I just will not be that interesting until later on in the movie. I swear. Jesus. Oh, man. I feel better, but all of a sudden the stomach. Okay, that's a nice web and all, but that was clearly artificially made. I doubt a spider would make such a nice and clean web. Plus, it could have rained last night. Killing that web, for all we know. how quick do spiders work to make webs in like no time at all for the convenience of the plot? Does he leave fingerprints with those kinds of thumbs and hands? I feel like if he could look carefully and see that coming out of his hand, he would have noticed it. Wow, this is some nice practical effects. Let's see it's easier. Well, the one part of the movie I just can't stand is when the CG takes over. It's just so jarring and confusing. It's like, wow. Come on, I feel like you've reached for the buildings. I can do this in broad daylight on a roof. I'm sure no one will notice. This is actually funny. Fly. Up and away, Web. Shazam. Go. Go. Go, Web, go. I mean, with web shooters, it makes sense how you do it. You just do this and you're like... But when you're doing it with, like, organics, that doesn't make as much sense. Because I doubt spiders have to have, like, their butts clenched at a certain amount to spew webs. You just have to, like... And you have webs. You have webbing. But you have to have your hand at a certain angle to shoot webs. That's just dumb. Because I feel like if you're checking to see if your hand's at the right angle, it would be like... Psh, psh. Plus, what's stopping you from just doing this? Psh. He's just been going like this. Pretty sure it's just the fact that he went like this. It was just going like this because I doubt the fingers have anything to do with it. But it wouldn't be as iconic. Just imagine shooting webs like that. You're like, that'd be easy to grab, baby. Oh, Jesus, man. Whoa. Oh, ah. You tired, man? Me too. So I got Rogaine. Michelangelo. Who the hell's Michelangelo? Now that said, am I just illiterate? This is a broken home. Mary Jane, people are supposed to feel sad for you.
Were you listening to that?
No. Well, I heard, but
I feel like that was too instant a flop. She was out and noticed immediately and was like, were you listening to that? I feel like that would have caused more moment to pause, her trying to cool herself off, blow off her steam, and then notice him staring at her, and then saying it in a less upbeat way. Then again, that's just me, editor nitpicking. Me directorially nitpicking in terms of the characters and how they act.
So where are you going after you graduate?
Out of here! I tell you what, this place sucks.
hopefully get a job as a photographer.
Been my lifelong dream to photograph masked men in leotards to give to men who love to slander said men, because why not? Lifelong dream. How come the other Spider-Man movies haven't utilized Jameson like they did in 1, 2, and 3? Because here's the question here. How come they didn't use him in Amazing Spider-Man? They had 2 movies to establish him. I can understand why they didn't have him in Homecoming. Maybe, a little bit. But I mean, why can't they have him? Probably because he doesn't have a job. Probably because of the fact that he could get a better job than a photographer, which would make Jameson sort of obsolete.
Sometimes you know people. You can just see what's coming.
What do you see coming for you?
is something I never felt before.
What I see coming is me into you. Emotionally. That's right, I feel us getting together as sex. Emotional time. You're not exactly the hottest woman in the world, but at least I never called you an angel. Like,
You're taller than me.
I hunch.
are you hunching now? Are you, like, sitting?
Don't.
Don't hunch. It's bad for your back. I didn't know she was back there. Did you just get out of the car and was like, yep, she's probably back there? Did you text her with the non-existent smartphone he had? And she had? Did he, like, knock on the front door and he was like, fuck off, Flash, her father? And he was like, where's Mary Jane? She's in the back if you want to fuck her, whatever. Well, clearly, if I want to impress a girl with these awesome powers I've gotten, I should buy a car. That'll help. I understand that a cool cars help and whatnot. But still. Amateur wrestler, $3,000. But, if you win. Yeah, that's a weird effect. It's like, I just imagine me running over Mary Jane in a nice swank car. They're spending all this time coming up with a wrestler persona. You could come up with a badass suit, but you couldn't come up with a simple name as Spider-Man. It needs more color. Why are you critiquing your own drawings? Half of them are really good that you could, like, hold on to. I mean, they didn't have as much detail as the one that you're currently working on, apparently, with all the fancy angles and whatnot, and how he's at, and the webs and all, even though the other costumes didn't really seem to have that much into them. Still. Yeah, it's a different suit I'm gonna kidnap MJ with. Oh, fail. How strong is that web? If it can, like, destroy a picture frame and its glass and, like, a pile of junk, shouldn't it, like, break a lamp or something? Shouldn't it break into the lamp? Mary Jane, Aunt May, I am butt naked and currently masturbating to the pictures I got of Mary Jane at the science place. She looked so hot behind those spiders. I don't know why, but I'm really into her and spiders all of a sudden. It looked like he was just starting to practice. Why was there web stream across the room? It only comes from his wrist. It comes from his wrist. Oh, a different end. Did he just decide, you know what, I'm going to take this end and go all the way. Damn it, cat. Go all the way over here. Hanging on my wall. It's glorious. Oh, we're going to have a Willem Dafoe moment. I'm excited. Damn it, cat. Cat's excited to join me.
Maybe I'm too embarrassed to ask him. I just don't know him.
I feel like some of these moments are too fast. This movie's, like, fast-paced, very fast-paced in, like, almost every area. Like, the emotion moments, fast-paced. In, like, the action moments, fast-paced. All these sort of fast-paced. Hey, cat, you want to have a fast-paced hug with me? Hug. And don't resist the hug. And don't beg me, please. You can go if you can find a way out of my chair, that is. I bet you're afraid of heights, too. You're afraid of heights, aren't you? Like, it was... Uncle Ben, why are you chastising him? He was doing it out of self-defense, and he didn't even beat him up. He just did some ninja moves and then punched him in, like, the chest once. I mean, if he got, like, a few broken bones, then maybe I can see you thinking, hey, he beat him up for a long period of time. He probably deserved getting slightly embarrassed and punched in the gut or chest to be slid all the way across the floor and get food dumped on him to be embarrassed. But you shouldn't do that, especially for self-defense. Or no, if Uncle Ben stayed alive and knew about the secret, he would not be so happy.
And I know I'm not your father. Then stop pretending to be.
I'm having an emotional moment here. Don't make me have an even deeper emotional contact with you. Stay back. I have a cat, bud. Not afraid to use her. Cat's fat. As her holding her is like holding the skeleton of a cat. Then there's just like a ball in the center that I have to keep from falling. Is there anything else you feel like doing, Uncle Ben? Are you gonna wait to pick up Peter later? I'm confused in this plan. Now the thing of it, Uncle Ben is killed. Why is he killed in the middle of the street? Got your fish. I got my catch fish. Got my catch fish. If the why does Uncle Ben in the middle of the street, but then got shot? In the third movie, they show that they were stealing his car. I think I don't remember. Haven't seen. Ooh, Bruce Campbell cameo. You see, these movies are awesome for two reasons. They have a Stan Lee cameo and a Bruce Campbell cameo. That's a Raimi film for you. Well, at least a Raimi Spider-Man film. Because who else would you associate with Spider-Man more than the characters who played him? Bruce Campbell. I'll tell you one thing. Bruce Campbell must be having the time of his life being a wrestling announcer.
Okay. You understand NYWL is not responsible for any injuries you made.
Rebel contract, not knowing what his real name is. Easy.
Yes.
Si, senor. May God be with you. Next victim. I feel like Bonesaw doesn't go through enough victims quick enough. Sure, that match looked quick, but we didn't see what he did. All you saw was just him chuck a guy. Wrestling isn't this actually dangerous unless it's underground wrestling. They didn't even pre-plan this. They were just like, okay, stand for this.
Human spider.
Human spider, that's it? That's the best you got? Yeah.
Well, clearly his name's Spider-Base. So I'm gonna call him the Spider-Man. Perfect. If I can get patent that, make millions, and then give it to Sony so that they can make more millions. Boo, you suck! When they get tired of Bonesaw after a few years. I'm not the human spider. I don't give a shit, kid. Just go out there. At that angle, it was like a straight shot. Who was there? Now I'm confused. Who was the guy behind him? Because I saw no one behind him. Was it the guy operating the light? Was he like, well, just go out there, kid. I just hold the light. Go. They've had more than enough time to wheel him out there. From WrestleMania has wheeled out quote-unquote injured opponents quicker than this guy. Cage! I had no idea the cage was happening. Clap, 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 clap.
Some kind of mistake. I didn't sign up for cage match. Hey, unlock the thing. Take the chain off.
I can't fight against a man with that tight and awesome an ass. Okay, 3 minutes of playtime. Okay, off-brand Hulk Hogan.
Staying away from you. That's a cute outfit. Did your husband give it to you?
So what if his husband did? You have something against that? Does that mean Spider-Man is homophobic, or Tobey Maguire is? Or Sam Raimi? Or the guys who wrote the original screenplay? Someone here is homophobic. Someone here is or was homophobic. And I'm not going to get to the bottom of this because I don't have the interest or time. I only have until the movie ends. Well, I'm 40 minutes in. Uh, He's clearly kicked him multiple times. I feel like at a certain point, he would have fallen back a lot sooner on the first kick. And seeing as how you had the ability to punch a man on the way back, a bully. Wait, how'd you get in? How are the chains undone so fast? Chain locks undone so fast altogether. And how come the kick automatically meant the bone saw was down? It just seemed like you needed a little bit more than that. If you kicked him multiple times in the gut and all. But still. It's like... Psh, 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 psh.
$100. The ad said 3,000.
Well, check it again, webhead. It said $3,000 for 3 minutes, and you pinned him in two.
I didn't pin him at all. He just got hit. Oh, I get it. It's like a sort of fraud ring where he has to survive for 3 minutes, but 3 minutes of playtime. How does that even work exactly? I like the way that guy said, "Put the money in the bag." Just so commanding. It's like he's done it before. I feel like the elevator would have shut at some point. Dramatic turn. No problem.
What the hell's the matter with you? You let him go.
What's the hell with matter with you and not doing my job for me? You let the dangerous criminal that could have shot you go if you got in his way. How dare you? I'll say one thing, that guy was so, like, who cares? The guy with money's leaving. I gotta get him. Cops are gonna go frantic on this guy who robbed a underground wrestling joint. Also, that guy who lost, like, a lot of money. Seemed really underwhelmed. I just got hit in the head and robbed. What was Uncle Ben doing? Was he just driving around waiting for Peter? What was he doing all day then? Was he just like waiting around? Was he making friends, buying stuff at like a convenience store like Lowe's? Was he at home and then just decided to drive back? Did they decide to do something fancy like go from like point A to point B or something like that? Jesus. Say what you want about the Amazing Spider-Man, but I knew what Uncle Ben was doing. He was going to find Peter. Peter! 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 I can't feel my legs. Peter! I can't feel my legs. I need a wheelchair. And be on your terrible show for years. Most that dramatic moment, it was just Peter letting go of his hand. Like, what? How long did it take? How long did it take for the paramedics and cops to get there? Did someone call the cops first and then the cops called the paramedics when they got there? Because I feel like they would have came at like around the same time. Oh no, revenge mode. You know what that means? I'm gonna be wondering if they're using digital effects. There they are. Wow, is that jarring? Jeez. The effects are always so jarring in this film. Just like, Wow, look at that puppet climb that wall. It's one hell of a CGI puppet. Maybe that's Spider-Man. Or whatever he calls himself in this film. At this point in the film. I'm sure he's typically called Spider-Man, but no one knows him yet. How do you know where he was? Or what happened? When did they say that there was a hit and run? I might not be paying attention that well, but I don't remember them saying that he was nearby, or that the shooting happened recently. I get that Uncle Ben's an old man, but I don't think he was shot anywhere vital. Maybe like a lung or a liver, but, I mean, he's an old man, he doesn't need to drink. And as long as someone's applying pressure and all. I doubt it was a simple gunshot wound that killed him unless... Where is he even shot? I don't think they even show where he got shot. Wow. That looked so epic back in, like, 2002. Mind you, I watched this film in, like, 2006. Which is when I can remember shit. My dad got me into superhero films. I'm pretty sure this is the first superhero film I saw. Wait, what, since when did he... Wait, did he have accomplices? I'm confused here. The scene confuses me. Because he stole one car. Why was he on the right side? Oh, yeah. I'm watching this in reverse. I was like, why is he on the right side? That's because he's on the left side. I'm just watching this in backwards reverse. I feel like he could have just gone, like... Instead of doing a dramatic jump, he could have just gone on the side of the building. Or just jump back onto his car, because what was stopping you from just staying on and going on the side and toughing it out? He's got a gun. Oh god, a criminal with a gun, as opposed to a criminal with a knife. Pretzels. Well, that was a nice little touch if you look carefully enough. You can see in the first shot. Wait, let's go back a bit. A lot of people wouldn't notice this in like the first viewing unless they paid really close attention. I'm getting up close and personal. That means I know what I'm talking about. Let me reload my gun. You can see him crawling in this shot, which you probably wouldn't see in the first viewing unless you paid real attention. I heard a shadow that people would barely see. Why did he do that? And how did he go back up? Couldn't think of it. And how did he get up there? He's not Batman. He can't just jump cut and say that he's Batman. Because even Batman doing it. Was that a sproing sound effect? I heard a sproing sound effect. He's got a gun.
Just give me a chance. Just give me a chance. What about my uncle? Did you give him a chance?
Did you give me a chance to act better or do that line again? No. Wow. I could not see your face clearly in the darkness. That wasn't how that was edited at all. He was like hunched over, pressing the button repeatedly, not standing up straight, waiting for the door to close slowly, being like, yeah, I got this.
See ya.
The reason he was ready to shoot him in the head. I feel like the smart thing he should have done was ran. Oh god, boat cops. My one true weakness. Boat cops. I'm doomed. Thankfully, they got a terrible look at my face, and it was 2002, so there wasn't any real photograph technology or whatnot. Wait, how'd he leave? Wouldn't the boat cops have noticed how he left? When they said, the guy is leaving, he's crawling the wall and swinging on a web. I'm confused. Help. Yep, he's dead. She's dead. No, he's dead. Thank you for tuning in to the first part of my reaction review of Spider-Man 2002 by Sam Raimi. Thank you.